Good morning. This is Greg Herter, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today. The purpose of these calls each and every month is to make sure that you are moving forward in what you need to be doing, remembering what you learned at the Marketing Mastery Seminar, to make sure that you don't feel isolated, like you're the only person out there working to build a marketing-driven real estate business. Also, to make sure that you are holding yourself accountable for making progress each and every month. Also, to share new ideas. Today, I want to talk about how to make 2014 your best year ever. And, it's the end of the year. This is not going to be a goal-setting session. This is going to be a session thinking about how to really make 2014 much better. Hopefully, you already have your goals in place. You've got sort of your plan for 2014 in place. But I want to talk a little bit about, philosophically, what do you need to do to make sure that you have absolutely an extraordinary year? I will tell you, I look back over the years, and it's hard to believe how fast the years have gone by. And I always think about some of the turning points, some of the things that really made the biggest difference. And this session is sort of a summation of all the things I've been trying to communicate and teach to you over the past year. I will tell you, I think 2014 is going to have unprecedented opportunity. The economy is growing. I just read that the U.S. economy is going to grow significantly faster in 2014 than it did in 2013. And this was a good year, but I will tell you the next year is going to be one of those years where, gosh, now is the time to take the initiative and capitalize on it. So what I'm going to do is make sure that you're seizing the opportunity, because now is the time to act. Now is the time to truly make a difference out there. But I also tell you, 2014 will also come with unprecedented competition. Competition like never before. This is a global marketplace now. And in the real estate industry, we have competition from further away than ever before. Today, digital farming allows people from further distances to farm people through Facebook, LinkedIn, in a wide variety of ways. And so there's a whole new level of competition. Doing the things you did for the last 15, 20 years isn't going to get you truly to where you want to go over the next 2 or 3. You have to increase your game significantly. Now, to get started, I'm going to start by writing down 5 things that you are proud of accomplishing in 2013. 5 things that you really are proud of what you accomplished. This can be personally, professionally. But I want you to think about some of the things that you really are proud of, that you accomplished this past year. And the reason I want you to think about it is to realize that you can do some extraordinary things. You can come a long way. Now, if you want to have an extraordinary year in 2014, what you have to ask yourself is this: what kind of a person do I need to become to accomplish my goals for the year ahead? My mentor, Jim Rohn, said, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And I have found that that's really the big key. See, I think so many times we get sidetracked, we get fixated on a goal. We read books like The Secret and we say, I just got to think about my goal. But it's not the goal that's really the key to driving that. If you read Think and Grow Rich, they talk about having a magnificent obsession. It's not just wanting something, but it's saying, why is that important to me? What does that mean? And now, what do I have to do? What is the person I need to become so that I can accomplish that? See, that's the real value, and that's the real drive. So I want you to think about it so that you can capitalize on the opportunities in the year ahead. And I just want to talk about briefly on how you can capitalize on the opportunities that are going to emerge in 2014. First of all, remember that you get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. Now, first of all, I don't want you to mistake being a valuable human being for being valuable to the marketplace. I believe that every human being on the planet is valuable. There's value in and of them. You're a valuable brother, sister, father, parent, human being. And you have great value in just being. But in order to get economic value, we get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Now, sometimes we may disagree with what the marketplace values. We say, gosh, an actor, a singer shouldn't get paid so much. Well, we don't get to decide that. And I don't mean to start worrying about what's right or wrong that way. Look at the marketplace and say, what can I learn from it? If I bring something that the marketplace values, I'm going to get paid very well. Now, if you bring something that the marketplace doesn't value, you don't get paid very well. People say, well, dishwashers should get paid more. Well, maybe they should, but that's not the purpose here today. It's not to think about it that way. It's to look at it and say, okay, if I want to get paid more, what do I need to do to bring more value to the marketplace? And don't ever confuse your value as a human being with the value you bring to the marketplace, because that will cause problems. Here's what I want you to realize. Once you understand that you get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace, all you have to do is say, how do I figure out how to bring more value? As a person, as a human being, how do I bring more value that the marketplace will now pay me for? I really believe that if you help enough people get what they want, you can get everything that you want. And remember that it's a ladder of success. The marketplace will reward you for climbing the ladder. Now, this brings up an interesting topic. What should minimum wage be? What's the minimum wage you should make? And the problem is the discussion of minimum wage sort of assumes that, gosh, instead of getting on the ladder and climbing, I'm going to get on the ladder and stay there. And here's what I want you to realize. The ladder was meant for climbing. And so what you do is you climb the ladder. Now, the way you climb the ladder is to work on improving your skills. Start so that the skill set you bring to the marketplace is highly valued. Say, what are the values that people really want? Skills to develop that the marketplace values are incredibly valuable. They will take you up that ladder so that you don't have to worry about minimum wage ever again. Now, the ladder is pretty amazing. I mean, we live in North America. And I want you to think about it. This is the most amazing economic ladder ever created. You're starting at minimum wage and going all the way up. Think about the highest paid people in America last year. They made extraordinary money, hundreds of millions of dollars. That's a pretty amazing ladder. So how do they get paid so much? Well, if you're a CEO of a major company and you add a few billion to the bottom line of the company, they're happy to pay you $100 million. It's chicken feed. It's little tiny money to them. When they're you're helping them make billions. So the question is, how do you do that? Well, as a real estate professional today, one of the skills you need to develop is your sales skills. And what I want you to realize is sales skills is constantly evolving. One of the biggest challenges is that so many salespeople develop some basic sales skills, but they don't improve. They don't keep growing. They don't say, gosh, how do I get better? How do I make sure that this year I'm better than last year? How do I make sure that what I'm doing is more effective? And so you've got to constantly refine, elevate your sales skills so that you're better. Now, when I started out in sales, I wasn't that good. Now I was competitive, and I would compete with people, and I was competing with people that were very good salespeople. They'd get 9 out of 10 listing presentations I went on. Now I wasn't that good. I'd only get 1 out of 10. I didn't know what I was doing. I was young. But guess what? Instead of taking that at a disadvantage, I said, well, how do I get better? Now I started studying, started refining my skills. Now, here's the thing. Once you get to be so good that you're 9 out of 10, don't get too complacent. Don't say, oh my goodness, I'm getting 9 out of 10. I don't need to get any better. Well, why not go for 10 out of 10? Why not go for 99 out of 100? Why don't you say, gosh, how do I make that little bit better? How do I do it so now I'm spending less time having better impact? And now you can get quantumly better. And what I found is that the pay at the top 1% of anything is dramatically better. You make significantly more when you do that. Next, I believe you should develop your marketing skills, and today, I think this is such an incredible opportunity. I will tell you, for me as a real estate professional, my sales skills took me to a certain level of success, but my marketing skills took me to a whole different level. If you really want to do extraordinarily well, you've got to market at a very high level. And today, there are so many opportunities in marketing. Facebook marketing, LinkedIn marketing, Twitter, so many opportunities. There are so many great ways to market yourself. I love digital farming. The key now is to understanding landing pages. And so the question is, what are you doing in the year ahead to make sure that you're getting significantly better in your marketing skills in everything you do? In the way you're advertising, where you're advertising, how you're doing it, what you're sending out, how it all integrates together. I loved reading the Sharper Image catalog just a few days ago because I saw such a great integration of marketing. I was looking at an ad in a magazine, but it said, to see more about this product, go to YouTube and watch this video. And I was now able to go in and watch a video on YouTube, learning how to be interactive. How do I make sure that as I send out a power card, I'm sending out a link to a video that now is coordinated with that particular listing, with the information I'm putting on the power card? Maybe you have a direct response offer, and you send a power card out, makes the direct response offer, but it also drives into a video where you can make a more compelling offer. See, today, there are so many opportunities in marketing that can take you to the next level. And this is where you can have an absolutely extraordinary year if you are willing to look and improve your skills. And so today, I really want you to say, gosh, for 2014, what are the marketing skills I need to develop? What do I need to improve? Next, organizational skills. Now, I found the more organized you get, the more effective you are, the more money you make. Organizational skills are not easy, but let me tell you, they pay huge dollars because you get the most productivity out of you, the people you're around. That's what organizational is. Now, some people call this time management, but I really hate this concept of time management because I have found you cannot manage time. See, if you could manage time, you could say, gosh, I've got an extra 5 minutes here. I'm going to save it for a little while. Use it there. That would be managing time. But see, time runs continuously. You can't manage it. And here's what I found. Everybody has the same amount of time. Rich people and poor people both have 24 hours a day. People that get extraordinary things done and people that don't have time to work out all have the same 24 hours. It's the organizational skills. And if you look at it and say, this is the organizational skills for my life. This is the opportunity for me to organize and get the most out of each and every day. Because the reality is that each and every day is our life. See, we think, gosh, someday when I get there, I'm going to arrive and things are going to be different. But our life is made up of the days we lead. And so you've got to make sure that you're getting the most out of today. And now those days stack up. And that's how you get extraordinary productivity. So go to work on your organizational skills. Now, the best way to do that is to really get clear on what you want and why you want it. Why is that important? And then it'll drive you. It'll keep you up late. It'll get you up early, keep you up late, and drive you to be much more productive with your time. The next skill to develop, if you really want to have an extraordinary year in 2014, is your own leadership skills. Leadership skills are so powerful. As a real estate agent, you're leading your clients, you're leading your assistant, the other agents that you're working with. And the better your leadership skills develop, the better off you're going to be. The more you can inspire people. And I found that a great leader inspires people. And when you can inspire people to give their best, to produce their best performance, let me tell you, you get paid extraordinarily well in the marketplace, because now you're having an impact on other people's lives. They're truly feeling like, oh my goodness, this person is making me better. And that makes such a huge difference. So think about what you can do to become a better leader. I love the book, Leadership and Self-Deception. There's so many great leadership books out there. What's your plan for 2014 to read, to improve, to get your leadership skills up? To say, how do I improve that? The next skill to develop for 2014 is your communication skills. Communication is so critically important. Tony Robbins says the quality of our communications is the quality of our life. And I have to agree. If you don't have good communication with your spouse, your kids, the relationship suffers tremendously with your clients, with your coworkers. The better you can communicate, the better you are at dealing with things. It makes such a huge difference. I love the book Fierce Conversations because it teaches you how to have some of those difficult conversations without getting upset and getting angry. See, and communication is learning how to master yourself as you work with others, because now you want to communicate effectively. One of the things that I think Tony Robbins said is that the meaning of your communication is the response you get. So if you say something to your spouse and she responds negatively, he responds negatively, a fight breaks out. What you got to do is go back and say, okay, what did I communicate that elicited that response? And for a long time, I really fought that. I said, no, I said this, I was totally clear in my communication, and they got angry. It's their fault. And see, here's what I found. If you always blame them, you are always justified to stop trying. And that's never a good thing. If, on the other hand, you really believe that the meaning of your communication is the response you get, now you say, okay, what is the response that I want out of this communication? And now let me try something. If that doesn't work, let me try something else. Let me try something else. And now you keep adapting, you keep changing your communication style, approach, meaning. And let me tell you, when you do that, it is amazing the influence you can have. You will get better. On the other hand, if you always get stuck saying, gosh, it's their fault, they shouldn't have responded that way. I was clear, I communicated it, and so many people do this. They're always blaming others for their response. And you're losing sight of the fact that you were trying to communicate something and you were trying to elicit a response. One of the great things that I found in communication is asking yourself, what is it that you want from each communication effort? In Marshall Rosenberg's wonderful book, Nonviolent Communication, he says most people use way too many words because they aren't clear on what they want back from people. And they don't take the time to internally go inside and say, okay, what is it that I want out of this particular communication scenario? And when we do that, when we get clear, what do I want out of this communication? Now we are much more succinct. We have a much better chance of getting what we're looking for from our partner, our clients, the people we work with. And so I encourage you to go to work on your communication skills for 2014 because they will make such a huge difference. Next, go to work on your listening skills. And communication and listening are inherently connected. Learn to listen empathically to what people say. So you're not just hearing the words, but you're hearing the meaning behind the words. You try and get in touch with them. Now, to listen empathically, first of all, you have to give your total attention to the other person. You actually have to be there. You have to turn off that internal dialogue so that now you're focused 100% on what they're saying. And don't be worrying about it. Don't be judging it. Don't saying, gosh, they're right or wrong. Don't be thinking about what your response is going to be. I have found if you can give your undivided presence, your focused attention to somebody, it is incredibly powerful. With clients, it'll make such a huge difference. With your employees, with your assistants, with other agents, your spouse, your kids, giving people your total focused attention without judgment is absolutely incredibly powerful. Now, I know it's not easy, and I know it takes practice, but let me tell you, the practice is well worth it. The payoff is absolutely huge. Next, work on teaching and training. Jim said, if you really want to master anything, the best thing to do is teach it to somebody else. Because when you try and teach it to somebody else, now it's got to get clear. You've got to get clear. You've got to be able to say, how do I explain that succinctly? So now, try and teach and train what you most want to get better at to somebody else. Take somebody under their wing and say, gosh, I'm working on my communication skills. I'd like to teach you what I've learned. And I know it's going to be a little bit rocky at the start, but let me tell you, that's where the opportunity is. That's where you can really get so much better by training 3 or 4 people, by going through and saying, gosh, I learned how to say that so much more succinctly. I can see that I'm making a difference there. And the more you teach it, the more internally you will learn it. You know, I think one of the great advantages that I've had is that I've tried to teach people over and over again. And I will tell you, maybe I'm just slow, but I know I needed it. And the great opportunity, just like the things I'm telling you today, every time I hear them, I get excited about them. Jim shared most of these concepts with me, 35, 40 years ago, and yet it's a nonstop practice of getting better, of improving, getting incrementally better. And I look back and say, oh my goodness, look at 35, 40 years ago. Look at where I was, and look at how far I've come. And that's where you know you're making progress. Next, learning to inspire people. And we talked a little bit about this in leadership, but let me tell you, inspiring people to do their best, to bring out the best in them, is where you get paid absolutely extraordinarily well. This is true in every aspect of your life, with your clients, with your employees, the people you work with, other agents, your family, your kids especially. If you can become an inspiring parent, to help them inspire to be their best. And the best way to do that is to demonstrate this yourself so that you are always inspired. You're always excited about life, about what it is. This is one of the reasons that Jim said, Greg, the worst thing you can ever do is complain. He said, never complain. He says, it kills all inspiration. He says, don't complain about your kids' rooms. Demonstrate a better pattern. He says, nobody ever gets excited about somebody that's come up and complained to them, especially complained about them to them. So get rid of that, and it makes such a huge difference. Then, I really believe in 2014, you've got to master social media skills. Now, this includes what you're posting on Facebook and Twitter, what you're advertising on Facebook, the landing pages, the conversion pages, how you integrate this into your entire lifestyle. Now, people say, Greg, how do I get better at all these things? Well, this is where self-education pays huge dividends. Self-education is the way to ensure that you grow personally and professionally. I want you to make sure that you take total responsibility for all of your own self-education and development. I really believe that formal education will get you a job. And you go through enough formal education, it'll get you a decent paying job. You go out there, you get a good degree from a good school, and you can make a decent living. But self-education can make you a fortune. That'll give you opportunities to skyrocket to the top of your field, to become a better salesperson, an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you want. Self-education is where the real money is. The wealth of the world is at your fingertips. There are hundreds of thousands of absolutely incredible books where people took a lifetime of learning and said, let me share this with you. Now go out there, study 3 or 4, and now go and practice it. But your job is to make sure that you're self-educating. I will tell you, it's a constant challenge. As many of you know, my goal has been to read a book a week, and I've done that pretty religiously for the last 30 years. This year, my wife has read 68 books. I mean, to me, that's an extraordinary accomplishment. I'm a little behind her. I've only read, I think, 54. I'm hoping maybe I can get another book or 2 in before the end of the year. And I will tell you, I looked back, and the years of reading 50 books or more a year, they stack up. 500, 1,000, 2,000 books over the last 20 years. They've changed every aspect of my wife and I's life, our communication, how we look at things. I mean, it's extraordinary. And so I want you to make sure that you do that. Go to the seminars. Now, go to the seminars, go to sermons. I'm always amazed. Recently I went to a church service and I took my journal. Now, the reason I took my journal is I thought that the preacher would probably have something valuable to say. And so I pulled out my journal as he was started taking some notes, and I looked around, and it was a little strange because I felt out of place. There was nobody else in the entire service taking a note. Like they thought, oh my goodness, there's not going to be anything of real value here. Or they assumed that their memories were so brilliant, they could remember it all. I thought, oh my goodness, I don't have that great of a memory. There's going to be some value here. I need to get some notes. And I did. And I got some great information. I want you to realize that's part of your own self-education. Then reviewing each day, looking at it and saying, what did I learn today so I can invest it into tomorrow? You know, Thoreau said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Now, I'm not sure that I'd take it that far. But what I have found is when you examine each day, then each week, each month, each year, and now you say, what can I take out of it so I can invest to get better, to improve, to avoid the mistakes of the past? It makes a huge difference. That's where wisdom growth really comes. I want you to learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Most people I talk to are hard workers. They go to work very hard at their job, but only work on their skills. But that's where the real value is. And that's where the opportunities really come from. Now, manage your thinking through reading, going to seminars, classes. And always ask yourself, what am I thinking? Are the thoughts I'm having right now taking me in the direction that I want to go? I will tell you, depression comes from bad thinking habits, sadness, discouragement. It always comes from, gosh, I'm feeling sorry for myself. And I want you to think about it. Is that going to take you where you want to go? And if you can now start identifying these things and saying, gosh, what can I think differently so it takes me the direction that I want to go, we can have such a big difference. Now, part of this is thinking about the influences that we're around. And always ask yourself, who am I around? Where do they have me going? And is that okay? And for those of you that know me, this is one of the big things that I talk about a lot because it makes such a huge difference. I'm always amazed. People with young kids are always concerned, gosh, I want to get them into the best schools. I want them to be around the right people that have the right influence. The reason I don't want to go over there is they'll fall in with the wrong crowd, and that will have a huge impact on them. As parents, we see that impact in our kids. And we want to make sure that we're influencing in the right way, but we forget that we're influenced the same way as adults. So always ask, what associations do I need to have? And there's 4 things that you want to think about. You want to think about who are the people I need to get around that will push me, help me grow. And I want you to look about it, I want you to think about it. Are you the best person in your group? If you are, then you need to say, gosh, I need to expand my group so that there are people that are pulling me up, that are challenging me. See, if you're always at the top of the game that you're playing, people always look up to you. And you get this complacent sort of, gosh, now I'm doing pretty good. It can also lead to arrogance. But if you get around a group of people that are now doing significantly better, you say, oh my goodness, I've got a lot way to go. I can get better, I can improve. So think about the new associations you want to make in 2014 that can take you the direction that you want to go. For 15 years or so, I was in an organization called Vistage. And Vistage is a weekly or a monthly meeting of CEOs and then a weekly coaching session with one person. And I will tell you, that made a huge difference. Getting around a variety of people, seeing new associations or new perspectives. Then there are some people you want to say, gosh, these people have a huge influence on me. I want to expand my association with them. When I started going to Jim's seminars, I realized I wanted to get around his influence. Now, I did that partly by listening to his tapes, listening to his audio programs. Then I hired him as a consultant. Then I had an opportunity to work with him. And I said, gosh, how can I expand that? I will tell you, that made such a huge difference. Next, you want to look at limited association. There are probably some people in your life that influence you in a way that is not probably for the best. You go out there and maybe you drink a little bit too much, stay out too late, eat a little bit too much, don't exercise, whatever it is. Maybe they just complain a lot. And you say, for that person, you know what? I've been spending 2 or 3 hours a week with them. Maybe I need to say I'm going to spend 2 or 3 hours a month. Just because they have a little bit of a negative influence on me. They get me to do some things that aren't going to take me the right way. They make fun of the books I talk about, what I'm reading. Then there are some people that are just what I call negative. And for those people, you have to say, gosh, how can I disassociate from them? And you might get to this point where you have to say, for that particular person, I need to eliminate them from my life. I just can't afford to be around them because when I'm around them, they have such a negative impact on my view, my life, whatever it is. I'm always amazed. You go see somebody, they go spend time with an old friend, and they come back, they're sarcastic, they're negative, and you think, oh my goodness, that association is having a huge impact. So just make sure that you're thinking about who you're around, where have they got you going, and make sure you ask, is that okay? Then ask yourself, what is my educational program for 2014? You know, I really believe a book a week will change everything in your life. If you're having some communication problems and you read 10 communication books, let me tell you, 10 weeks from now, you'll be significantly better. You're having some relationship issues, read 10 books on relationships. And you'll say, oh my goodness, here's the opportunities. This will make such a huge difference. Remember that every day is stacking for you or against you. And just make sure that every day you're spending a little bit of time moving in the right direction. An hour a day will get you well ahead of a book a week. And that will make such a huge difference. Now, I want you to think about attitude and activity. because these are very interrelated. See, your attitude affects what you do. If you wake up and you have a bad attitude, you aren't going to take action. You aren't going to read a book. You aren't doing things we're going to talk about. You aren't going to go to work on your skills. On the other hand, if you work on your attitude, it will make such a huge difference. Attitude affects so many different areas of our life. It affects whether we feel happy or sad. It affects whether we take action or don't. And so go to work and saying, how do I make sure that I have an attitude every day that's taking me the direction that I want to go? Now, as you know, in the Marketing Mastery Seminar, I share a formula for totally messing up your life. I call it a formula for a total disaster. Now, if you want to mess up 2014, just think about all the things we've talked about that you could do. And then ask yourself, which ones of those should I do? Maybe not all of them are right for you. Ask about which ones should you do. And then just don't do it. And I guarantee you 2014 will go by, and at the end of 2014 you'll say, gosh, how did I end up here? How did I make so little progress? If you really want to make 2014 your best year ever, make sure that you follow the quantum leap. Now, for those who've been to my seminars, we've given you a copy of U Squared. And I want to make sure that you use this system. I'm always amazed. I share this system at every seminar I do. I give people the book, and I ask them to send me their quantum leap letter within 48 hours. And I'm always amazed, only 10% do. And people say, well, does that make them special? I think it does. When I went to Jim's seminar for the first time, and he said, listen, if you want to be wealthy, you got to read The Richest Man in Babylon. He said, if you want to really master your thinking, you got to read Think and Grow Rich. And the next day, I went and bought the books. People say, well, Greg, does that make you different? I don't know. I suppose it does. Because I went and I searched and I said, gosh, I'm going to take this and start applying it. So many people say, well, yeah, I mean to. But, you know, life is challenging. I've got so much going on. It's the holidays. You know what? That doesn't matter. Get up an hour early. Do something. Now, first of all, I want to commend you because you're on this call. I invite all the people, thousands of them, and such a handful show up, so I want to congratulate you. But here's what I'm going to do. I want to get you on the fast track for 2014. You know the Quantum Leap formula. Write a one-page letter dated 5 years from today, outlining precisely what your life is like 5 years from now. Describe it in detail, as if you were living the life of your dreams 5 years from now. Don't write, I will be earning $300,000 a year in income. Write, I am earning $300,000. I live here, I do that. Describe your life as if you want it to be that perfect life 5 years from now. Write that clear description as if it was already a reality. Now make sure you write this in the present tense, the active voice. A present reality here and now. Then cut out 5 or 10 pictures that truly visually represent the life that you want to lead after you've truly made your quantum leap. Right? Look at those pictures. Now, every day, take the time to read that one-page letter. Look at the pictures and mentally visualize living that life. Mentally recreate it in your brain. How it tastes, how it smells, how it looks. Make it come alive in your mind. And if you will do this every day for the next 90 days, the progress you can make will be incredible. Now, once you're done, spend 5 minutes writing down any ideas, insights that come to you about action steps that you could be making. And now go to work on those things. Maybe it's just a little step, but if you'll make a little step every day, it'll make a huge difference. Now, so many people say, well, Greg, that sounds like a good idea. And I want you to think about it. Every one of you could write that letter. I believe every one of you should write that letter. The only question today is, will you? And I want to make sure that you are making 2014 an extraordinary year. And if you will do the simple things that we've talked about today, and I know it's not sort of complex, it's simple. It's a philosophy that says the person I become is the most important part of my own personal development. I have found that the more you grow personally and professionally each and every day, the more you accomplish, the happier you will be, the better you will feel about life. And 5 years from now, you look back and say, oh my goodness, look at that incredible journey. That's life. It's learning how to get more out of each and every day. I've never talked to anybody who at the end of their life looked back and said, I grew too much. I learned too much. I did too many things. I pushed myself too hard. I wish I would have not been such a good father. I wish I would have, not read those books. I wish I wouldn't have communicated as well. I wish that, I just would have blown my money. No. See, nobody gets there. But so many people say, gosh, I wish I would have spent the time. I wish I'd been around people that were taking me to the next level. I wish I had read a few more books, worked on my relationship, worked on my communication, worked on my leadership. I wish I would have made more of a difference in 2014. Just try it for the year. Give it a year, and if you say, gosh, I like the old way. I don't want to grow. I want to stay always how I am. Go back and it's fine. And you've only lost a year. But let me tell you, I believe you can start a path that will take you down an extraordinary adventure and journey, and you will never be the same again. Starting today, you can rip up an old life script. You can change anything and everything you want about you and become the person that you always wanted to. Starting today, just by doing simple little things. Now, don't expect it to happen overnight. Say, gosh, I want to work on my anger. I want to solve it today. It's not going to happen. But if you say, gosh, I want to do this and here's why, and now I'm going to take this progress, and you start making little steps, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you cannot believe the progress. 5 years from now, you look back and say, I can't believe that was ever a problem. That's the power that will make a huge difference for you. What I want to do right now is open it up to questions and comments. And first of all, I always appreciate your comments. Also, if you go to the control panel and type in questions, I can definitely open that up to you. And I see we've got some questions. I see Sky Realty on there. So I love your comments, your questions about the webinar today. And if you've got a question, anything, please type it in. It's always getting the first questions going that is hard. So first of all, was this useful? So you can just, type in an answer there. There is a question and answer box. Now you guys are making me feel bad that nobody's asking a question, having a comment. So also send me your comments at greg.herder@hobbsherder.com. Also, I'd love your feedback on my website or my Facebook page. And thank you, Cindy. And I appreciate your comments. All right, Phil. Good to hear comments from Jim Rohn's teachings. He was a transformed person in my life. I think Jim has had such a huge impact on so many people. Hey, Phil, great to hear you and see you on there. Hope everything is going up there in Vancouver for you. And glad to hear you've had a good year. So Tony has a question, and the question is, what should the first thing we should be doing in January? And that's one of those tough questions in that I really believe it's different for each person. And it depends on what's most important to you. What's the most pressing issue in your life that you need to make a difference in? And I will tell you, I think that's the thing to go to work on. I will tell you right now, I think that from a marketing perspective, and maybe the question was that designed that way, I really think that online digital farming, in conjunction with your direct mail, your other activities, is where most agents really need to take advantage of it. I will tell you the impact we see from agents that are placing ads on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, driving people to a landing page, then integrating out the direct mail is absolutely extraordinary. And that's where there's tremendous opportunity and results to be getting or to be had. All right, Sharon, thank you for your comments. All right. Yes, Jay, I am. I am doing my inner Jim Rohn this morning. All right. Could you email us a list of your top 10 books? I could, but since I don't have your email address, what might be easier is if you go to my Pinterest account, and there I've got a whole bunch of different books broken down. If you go to pinterest.com/Greg Herder, you'll see social media books, leadership books, business books, communication books, a wide variety of books. So depending upon the category that you're looking at, it'll give you a great starting point. Also, if you go to hobbsherderbooks.com, I believe there's a couple hundred books that I've recommended over the years there as well. But the Pinterest one is the most up-to-date and accurate one. So the question is, the Canadian Post has announced they are increasing first-class postage from 61 cents to $1.10. What impact will this have on the cost benefit of direct mailing? Well, here's what I found over the years. For the last 40 years, I've seen mail costs go up significantly. And, when they raise them, there is always a little bit of reduction on return on investment. But I've also found that it also gets a lot less people to actually do it for a while, and it will continue to pay for itself. If you're tracking your numbers, you're running at it, you'll see that, especially today, combined with email, online social media, direct mail is such an incredible tool. That's why, we encourage people to send out their brochures, their special reports that are physically tangible. And the funny thing is, I think that the return on direct mail today is higher than it's been in a long time because you can integrate it with so many more things. So look at it, make sure that what you're doing makes sense, but I think the return on direct mail will continue to be incredibly high. All right. Phil, okay. So you're a different Phil than I was thinking of, and I appreciate that. All right. One of my takeaway nuggets is your starting comment: success is not something you pursue, it is something you attract. And I want you to know that if you work on that, if you always say, gosh, it's what I'm becoming that makes the great value, it will truly make a difference. All right. I am glad that you guys took the time to listen in. The question is, do you suggest a ratio of time at work and time spent outside of work? I see people work more than they can effectively. And it's interesting, what I found is that if you work too much, your efficiency goes down dramatically. And so I've always tried to strive to balance, and I will tell you, the first time around, both personally and professionally, I fell in love with real estate. I let real estate become my life. I worked way too many hours. I would work weekends, Friday nights, Saturday nights, and it ended up costing me a divorce. The second time around, I made a commitment, and Jim said, write in your business plan, put time off. Make a commitment to what you're willing to work. And I've tried to make my commitment to work 40 hours a week. Now, there's a few weeks I've worked more, some less, But Jim said, here's the key. When you're at work, work. Don't go to work and play. Don't go to work and say, how do I kill the time? Go to work and really work. And I found if you really work in 40 hours a week in real estate, you can accomplish incredible things. I see a lot of agents accomplish it in 20, 30 hours a week. Just get clear on, here's what I want, here's the lifestyle I want, and now when you're at work, give it 100% of your effort. And now when you go home, release real estate and give 100% of your attention to your spouse, your kids. Be the best parent, best spouse, best member of the community that you can possibly be. And I found that you will get great joy and satisfaction out of that. And there's not a magic number that says, I should work X number of hours, this and this and this. Everybody's a little different, but just make sure that whatever you do, you're 100% committed in that moment to being the best at that. And question is from Phil Legree. When are you back in Vancouver? I want to bring my new assistant and business partner in. And Phil, right now, I know we're going to be in Vancouver or Seattle sometime in the fall of 2014. We've got the first 6 months of 2014 set, but I'm not sure. It'll be somewhere in there, August, September, so somewhere in that range. Let's get more specific on the type of message sellers need to hear right now while they contemplate which agent to choose in the first quarter of 2014. And I think that, again, most sellers choose the agent that's most visible in their marketplace, and then an agent that has an inspiring message, a story about, gosh, I'm helping people do things that they can relate to personally and professionally. When we get so sidetracked on trying to convince people that we're better, those always tend to backfire. So think, how do I make sure that I'm staying very visible and then inspiring people on a regular basis? The next question is, any tips on how to use a website and social media for farming? Well, I talk about that for a couple of days at our seminars, so it's a little hard to compress it down, but here's the key. Your website has to be integrated across everything you do. So your direct mail is working and driving people to your website. Your website is now driving people to fill out a specific landing page, get them to take action, and now you're following up with direct mail. There is no magic one answer on this, so it's so complex, but just start studying and making sure that you're working on the right things there. Digital farming. Recently, my Facebook had a huge ad, had a huge response, a 4.4 click-through rate. Would a good Facebook ad to advertise, search the MLS, and have a landing page where the potential client could do this? If so, would you make them register? Well, here's the key. If you're going to run an ad that says search the MLS, remember that what you're promoting is the MLS. On the landing page, you need to really make sure that you have a story that says, gosh, here's the MLS and here's why I'm providing it to you, and it's a service of me as an agent. Otherwise, you're just promoting the MLS and driving people to the houses, and now they search for the houses and they go on. Those are one of the ads that I see a lot of click-throughs, but the conversions, the actual turning a click into a transaction, are very limited. So you really have to make sure that you're thinking, what's the story that I'm telling? So the ad sets expectation, the story now converts, but the story has also got to promote you. Otherwise, you're promoting something that doesn't bring you any actual business. All right, Cindy, I appreciate it, and I understand sometimes your head can spin with all the information. And make sure you just keep taking daily steps. All right. Thank you, Paul Anthony. I appreciate that. It's always a great, especially somebody like you that's influenced so many people in a positive way. I want you to know you're one of my inspirations as well. And I think Hoover just made a comment. It's important to remember not to become a real estate agent, but to become a well-rounded person who sells real estate. And remember that real estate is here to serve our life. And if we always keep that in mind and say, gosh, how do I serve my clients? How does this business serve my life? We will be much better people in the long run. All right. We'll look forward to seeing you, Phil, in Vancouver. And Phil just made a comment. He says, I've used tight mark targeting on Facebook for a huge open house turnout for very few dollars. I found that promoting open houses on Facebook is tremendously valuable. There's so many opportunities. And I see that it's out of time here today. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up our call. I wish each and every one of you an absolutely fabulous holiday season, and then make 2014 your best year ever. I'd also appreciate your feedback, your comments. Keep me posted on your progress throughout 2014. Make sure you stop in our webinars each and every month. And I look forward to hearing your story and what you've accomplished. Make 2014 your best year ever. Thank you very much, and God bless.